I'm going to ask you to imagine something for a minute, if you would. You're in your office, you're working, and one day HR calls you into their office and they let you know that your services are no longer needed. Later on, you find out one of the reasons you were let go is because of your age. You know, this story isn't so far-fetched. We know that workers 55 and older were 17% more likely to be let go than employees between the ages of 35 and 54, and this is according to a 2020 study from the Retirement Equity Lab. Now, if you're older, this being put out to pasture so early in your career, yeah, it is humiliating. Now, I do want to say one thing. There is a tight labor market right now here in 2022, so this may not be happening as frequently, but yeah, you can bet it's still happening. Now, if you want to avoid being one of the statistics, one of the 17%, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to share with you some thoughts, some ideas, some ways you can avoid being a statistic. And that, my friend, that's up next right here on Over 50 TV. Welcome back to Over 50 TV. My name is Lou Reyes. Well, before I tell you how you can avoid the humiliation of losing your job because you're over 50, well, I want to ask you to subscribe to Over 50 TV. Now, you can do that pretty easily just by hitting the little red button. It's underneath your screen. And I also want to let you know that I recently launched a new YouTube channel. It's called Side Hustle Rules. If your next best career move is starting a side hustle or a full-time business, why, I think you're going to want to subscribe to Side Hustle Rules. Now, there's a link to that channel in this video's description box. So how do you avoid the humiliation of losing your job because you are over 50? Well, I don't think this is as difficult as most people think. First, you've got to commit. And when I say commit, I mean really commit to increasing your value as an employee. And you can do this by sharpening your current skills, but also by learning new skills that are relevant today, but also skills that will be relevant tomorrow, and I think that's really key. Now, this isn't something that you can think about doing later on, something that you can avoid if you want to stay relevant and if you want to stay employed. And there certainly are plenty of organizations out there that can help you learn new skills. Now, in recent videos, I mentioned a few. I mentioned Michigan State University. They have an online supply chain certification program for people who want to enter this very high demand field. And I've also mentioned pathforward.org and I mentioned vantageaging.org. Path Forward, recently what they did is they announced a new returnship, what they call a returnship program with Twilio. And this program is aimed at helping finance and accounting professionals restart their careers after time away for caregiving. Now, Twilio is looking for accountants and they're looking for payroll analysts to participate in their 16-week, and again, it's a returnship program, a program that will start this April. And these roles, they're open to professionals with 5 or more years of experience who have taken 2 or more years off from their careers for caregiving. That's the requirement. VantageAging.org, why, it's an Ohio organization, so it may not be for everyone, but they've got a great senior community service program. Through Vantage Aging, you can earn industry-recognized certifications for a variety of careers. They also have a program where you get paid while you are in training, but you do have to work an average of 20 hours a week, and I think you've got to work with the organization. And these are just 3 ways, 3 organizations, 3 companies that can help you sharpen a current skill or even learn a new one so you can increase your value. And there certainly are plenty of other organizations out there that can help you do that. I found most of these online just by doing a little bit of research that you can do too. Another way you can avoid the humiliation of losing your job because you're over 50 is to find a company where your 50-year-old self, your skills and your experience will be appreciated. And there certainly are plenty of good companies out there that do appreciate and do value older workers. Now, if you're not working for one of these companies, change jobs. And I know sometimes this is easier said than done because there's a lot of things that you got to think about. But there really is no reason to work for a company that doesn't appreciate you, that doesn't respect you. Because the truth is this, if they don't appreciate you, you probably won't be working there very long. Now, last year, Fortune published their 100 best companies to work for in 2021. And that list, it includes Cisco, it includes Hilton, Salesforce, Wegmans, Food Markets, Rocket Companies, UKG, and Texas Health Resources. Make working for one of these companies, one of these types of companies, your goal. Or what you could do is create your own list of companies. Make them a priority. There are plenty of good companies to work for, and they may not all be perfect, but neither are we. Now, another way of avoiding the humiliation of losing your job because you're over 50 is to either start a side hustle or a full-time business. And yeah, I know this option isn't for everyone. As I recently told one of our viewers, I said some people, though, they don't have a choice but to start a business. I was one of those people. I didn't have a choice. When I was 34 years old, that was way back a long time ago, I realized that working for somebody else, it wasn't for me. I had to run my own show, or I knew this. I knew I couldn't give any company 100% of my effort, and I know it wasn't fair to the employer, and it wasn't fair to me, and it certainly wasn't fair to my family. So back then, I decided to start my own business, and it wasn't easy. There were lots of bumps along the way, but that is something that I never regretted. But I gotta say, I don't suggest starting a business unless it's something that you really want to do. You should have, I think, an overwhelming desire to chart your own course. This is one of the big reasons why I say some people don't have a choice, because they have that inner voice that's inside them that for years, maybe decades, been telling them they've got to do something else. They've got to do their own thing. Now, another reason, though, I'm going to say another reason to start your own business is if you have marketable skills and you absolutely know there's no future for you at your workplace. And if you're also tired of the stress of going from job to job, well, you know what? Then you might want to consider going out on your own. And as long as you do it slow, and as long as you do it patiently, and as long as you're thoughtful and you work with, I think you got to work with a mentor, starting a business, it can be very rewarding. But starting a side hustle first is always my recommendation, because that way you do it at your own pace. You keep your costs low and you learn what it's really like to build and run a business. So starting your own business, whether it's a side hustle or a full-time gig, it is certainly a way for you to avoid the humiliation of losing your job because you're over 50. But it's also something else. It's also a way for you to take charge of your life. Now, there is one more way that you can avoid the humiliation of losing your job because you're over 50, but it's not a strategy. It's not a way that I would suggest that you go out, that you close out your career. That way is to just say, okay, cool. I am going to leave. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And basically you throw in the towel and then you go off into the sunset, and maybe you got enough money, you have enough money to retire, you have enough money to basically make ends meet, or maybe you have enough money in your savings or your investments that you do have a bright future. But for those of us who know being put out to pasture isn't something that we're ready for, if it's not something that you really want to do, I don't think this fourth way is the way to go. I can't imagine putting a smile on your face and looking at that HR manager or looking at whoever is going to be telling you that, we got to part ways, we don't need you anymore. I can't imagine that would be a way to have any kind of a pride or any kind of happiness in your life. So I don't suggest accepting this, or I should say accepting their reality, because it doesn't have to be your reality. Well, that's all I got for you today, folks. I once again, I really do want to thank you for listening to me here today on Over 50 TV. I do want to ask you one more time, though, if you would, please go ahead and subscribe to Over 50 TV. Do it so easily just by hitting that little red button. It is underneath your screen. And I also mentioned at the beginning of this video that I did start a new YouTube channel. It's called Side Hustle Rules. And somebody, a person I totally respect and I really look to for advice, she asked me recently, she said, why did you start Side Hustle Rules? Isn't it kind of encouraging people to start a side hustle? Isn't that kind of, against helping people who are over 50 to learn a new skill or find a job? Well, no, I think that they really go hand in hand. A lot of us, at later in life, we don't want to work for somebody else, but there are a lot of people that do. But either way, you do have great options, and that's why I started Side Hustle Rules. please check it out. Check out the videos. Subscribe to the channel if you are so inclined. There is also a free, very free, side hustle rules, or I should say side hustle starter kit. There's a link to that. Click on that. You get that link. I don't want to keep going on. I hope you enjoyed this video. That's all I got for you. Thanks for watching and have a great day, everybody.